Hi, hey everyone. How's it going? Welcome to this live stream. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm happy to be the host of this stream today. And like you all know, we've had a couple of streams before this one. We've had one with Alejandra and Aiko, where she spoke about three request reply use cases, and we also have one in French where we have Ludovic and Laurent, where they spoke about an audio use cases with AsyncAPI v3, right? But today, I have with me a special person, a special guest. You've all seen the you've all seen the banner and the promotion already, and so you know who it is I'm bringing live with me today. So before I bring him live, a quick introduction about myself. I'm Ace. I love hosting live streams. It's one of my favorite things. Doing with this KPI. So that's just a bit about me. So I'm gonna bring up the guest for today. And the guest for today is our one and only Fran Mendes. Okay, Fran.
Hello,
Oh,
is
look who it is.
hello. Surprise! Nobody knew it.
Surprise! No one.
That was a surprise.
No.
Yeah, who could have guessed?
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Thanks for
Okay.
inviting me to this live stream.
Okay, Fran. If you don't mind, while I quickly announce that we are live on Slack, do you mind introducing yourself? I mean, you don't need
Of
to know
course,
introduction. Honestly, you
I
don't
do.
need introduction, but
I mean,
just do
I
it.
mean, I do. I'm not Jim Carrey, right? So.
That's a perfect example.
So yeah, yes. So my name is Fran Mendez. I live in Spain, and I'm the creator of Async API, and not the director anymore. That problem is now on the hands of Lucas. So, just kidding. And I work as a director of engineering at Postman, leading the biggest Async API team, working, let's say, full time on Async API. So yeah, and I live in Badajoz in Spain. So if you're around, if you are in Lisbon, I frequently go to Lisbon, Seville, Madrid, all these places around, and even the north of Spain, Asturias, and so on. So if you're around, I'll be happy to connect.
Oh, nice. Thank you for the introduction, Fran. That was amazing. It looks like Fran is a traveler. He travels a lot. So, yeah. So let's get started. We're already a few minutes behind. So in case you don't know, the title of today's stream, right, is overview of Async API v3, right? So before we get started, do you have anything you want to share with the audience, so we can know before we get started?
Just that, like I said in Twitter, this is gonna be super improvised from my side. Um, I have no specific what's it called script. So yeah, nothing from my side. Happy to follow you, Ace. Happy to follow your uh, advices as well.
That's pretty cool. Fran is so. I mean, I want to be like Fran when I grow up. The fact that I don't want to like prepare anything, just want to whatever the wind directs me. So that's super cool. So that is what Fran is doing today. Fran has nothing planned out. So whatever the wind takes us. No,
Oh
not
yeah,
us. I mean, takes you. I'm the wind technically here. So wherever I take
yes.
you.
Turn off the fan, please. Just in case.
Okay, so without no further ado, let's get started. I have a lot of things here. I mean, like we basically can touch of the interesting stuff that came with Victory in this stream, and then that would probably take so much time. But yeah, I have actually created some few ones we can go through. I mean, like the title of the stream is actually overview, right? Not actually in depth. I think I lost Fran.
Yes, I don't know what happened.
Okay.
It like instantly dropped. I don't know why,
Oh,
but I'm back.
okay.
It's
So as I was
weird.
saying, it's actually about an overview. So we are not actually, this call is not meant for us to like go in depth like stuff, but just to like brush on some of these interesting features and improvements in V3, right?
Right.
So the first one I actually have on my list here is actually moved metadata, right? Uh, it's actually interesting. I mean, like it's I mean it's one of those things that you basically wouldn't really notice, right? So that was why I
Yes.
actually like I have it at my first list on the item, because we all know like in V2 like two properties of the two like tags external docs were placed outside the info object, right? For consistency, but in V3 it's not like something happened. So what happened, man?
Yes. So what happened is that we found out that there were many things like tags, like summary, description. You know, a lot of these metadata fields that are specific. Like it's metadata, so it's data about the data, right?
Hmm.
So we found out that some things didn't really make sense in the place they were before. So, for instance, in the case of tax, it was moved. We had like a tax field on the root level of the AsyncAPI AsyncAPI document, and we moved it into info, right? Because the info object is about this, is about info about the API itself or the application itself, right? So yeah, it didn't make sense to have it on the root one. This was inherited from OpenAPI because the way tags work in OpenAPI is different. So you have to define tags in the root object, and then you reference them from the rest of the places, right? So it made sense to be on the root. But in our case, we don't do that. We defined tags everywhere, not without using references, right? Or not necessarily references by name, and so we decided to put it um, on the info object, right? And likewise, in many objects around the spec, we found that some of them had description but not summary. Some of them might have summary but not description, right? So we just or did they didn't have tags, or you know, so we just unified this and made sure that they are consistently called with the same name. Yeah, consistency and cleaning the house a little bit. So yeah.
I mean, for me, I actually find it interesting that so this all it automatically like makes my document cleaner, right? So because in V2 when I have like these tags and external docs in the root object, I mean I wouldn't say it's not okay, but with victory, I mean, it looks super, super okay because I know, okay, this is related to this particular aspect or to this particular object. Unlike when I have everything in the root objects. I mean, like, so I really find it interesting, and I know a lot of folks might actually miss it, which is one of the reasons why I had it like at the top of my list. So that's the first overview about move metadata. Um, do you mind showing us like in studio like an example?
Sure. Let me open Studio first of all and share my screen. Uh, all right, let me see what I can do here. Looks like this is the one. Yeah, can you see it?
Yes, perfect.
Cool. So what happened is that in version 2, we used to have something here called tags. Not working. Okay. So we used to have something here which is tags. It's super slow, so I apologize for this. I think it's because it's capturing the video. It's capturing the screen for the video. So yeah, I don't know, something like a tag, right? I hope I'm doing this right. Otherwise, I'll have to. Uh, why is it complaining? Ah, yeah, true, of course. It's complaining because we removed it.
And you're using V3.
I'm already using V3, right? That's why it's failing, right? Of course. So it was just to avoid any confusions. I'm gonna put it far from the info object, right? So it was here on the root level. That's what we call the root level here. So we by level we mean the levels of indent that you can find, right? So this is YAML or actually JSON as well. Can be you can have this in JSON as well in a different way. But on the root level will mean this, right? So here, so tags is on the root level. So tags, since it's for the whole API, like the title is for the whole API, like the version is for the whole API, like the description is for the whole API, then we thought if it's for the whole API, if it's a trait of the if it's a characteristic, I don't want to call it a trait, then it will be on the info object, right? So now it's there, right? And now you can see that this tag is applied here as part
Mhm.
of the information, let's say, or as part of the metadata for the AsyncAPI file, right? Um, we also have, I don't know, this is really slow. Okay, so here on the channels, we also have now summary, we have tags, we have description, right? So before, I'm sorry, I don't remember from the top of my head, but I don't know if it was that channels didn't have description and summary, or
Yeah.
maybe it was operation didn't have.
So it wasn't consistent.
It wasn't consistent, yeah. So we made it consistent. So now, if you come here to an operation and open the suggestions, you'll see summary and description is there and tags, right? So it's now all consistent. External docs as well. So this is another field that was moved from again. So see, so now you have external docs here instead of in the root. Um, it doesn't come. It does. Good. That's not a good URL, of course. But yeah, so it was
This
moved
is
to info object.
which was super cool, right? And which so
It's
before
cleanup. Yeah.
Fran already like so we mentioned the first one, which is like move metadata. The second one actually on my list was actually what Fran just touched right now. Because we have like now we have common metadata fields, right? Which is an example of what Fran just did in the channels object. Before we didn't have like we have this operation doesn't have some operation channel object doesn't have some, but now it's all consistent right now, and that is like the second improvement, like I'm saying in victory, that I really really love.
Yep, I love it as well because I mean, especially for maintainers, it makes our lives easier as well. But yeah, it's also for users, not just for maintainers, right? It's mainly for users actually. But yeah, if you're consistent, then things can get programmatically, let's say, automated. So now we're just extracting this metadata that we know it's going to be in every place. And now in our tools, we can extract it as a separate interface, right? And then we just
Mhm.
say that our class implements this interface, and this interface, right? So it's even in the code, it becomes useful because it's always the same, right? Before
Mhm.
it was not always the same, so you could not really extract these things into interfaces. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that is the second improvement I see that I really really love. And the third one is actually I would say the third one is one of my favorites, because initially I thought, was it actually necessary? But then it was necessary, right? And the third one was actually server URL splitting up. I mean, like in V2, we didn't have that, right? What we had in V2 was just probably I think URL, right? So you just like put the whole URL to your server, right? But now it's not like that anymore. What changed, Fran?
Yes. So let me continue with this example. I think it's a perfect place. By the way, you can open this example on Studio. If you go to studio.asyncAPI.com, uh, if you click here, you'll see simple example, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you select it and use template, and you will open this example. Okay. Um, this doesn't have any servers, so let me create some servers. So what we did is that on the servers section of the spec, let's say we call it development. Okay. Actually, no. Let's just go to production straight. Why not? So let's say that we have a server called production, whatever that means, right? Before it used to be like this. It used to be, let's say, we have a Kafka broker in production, and we call it um, something like that. This is the let's say that this is the URL, right? And now, along with this, you had field call protocol, right? So now you have Kafka here and Kafka here, right? As a protocol. So this is if we were using the world URL, right? But
Mm-hmm.
a URL has a protocol always, right? Some people were doing this, including myself sometimes. They were removing the protocol. But if you do that, this is not a fully qualified URL. This is not a fully qualified URL, right? So, or in other words, this is not a URL, right? There's nothing there in this
Mm-hmm.
string of characters that makes you think that this is a URL. This is a domain name. That is a domain name. But a URL has to have a protocol. It has to have the colon slash, you know, and all this stuff. Like it can have the domain. It can have the port or whatever port. Um, it can have the username. It was something like this. So the other way around. So this is a
Mm-hmm.
fully qualified URL, right? Say a path, right? And I'm mixing the protocol. This is a fully qualified URL with a protocol, with a colon, with slash, might have the username, colon, password, at let's say the host name. This is the host name, right? Also called usually the domain name. Um, the host port, right? So the port where you are connecting to that host, and optionally as well a path, right? A path to reach this specific URL, right? This specific resource in this URL. But what happened usually is that people were doing this, and again, including myself. So you have the Kafka protocol here in the URL, and you have it here. You're saying that the protocol is Kafka. What if I now just do, I don't know, this is now AMQP, right? Um, which one is right? Is this one or is this one? Is it Kafka or is it AMQP? Right? This is an inconsistency, right? Of course, we could have checked if these two are the same because they have to be the same. But the reality is that um, when you have a place in your code or in any design that you do where an inconsistency may happen, instead of checking for the inconsistency, the best thing to do is to remove the inconsistency, right? To remove the um, the potential error, the potential mistake that people might be committing, right? So what we did is that we wanted to remove this. But if we remove this, then this is not a URL anymore. So this is now
Mm-hmm.
the host, right? So this is the host. And if you need to put something like, I don't know, the port, right? So now the
Mm-hmm.
port can be specified via the port property, right? Sorry, that was an initial proposal. That didn't make it like this way. So the host is not the host name. The host is the host name plus the port. So you want to have the if you want to have the full host definition, you can have it like this. And if you want to have a specific path, right, which is very rare in brokers, in the case of Kafka, it's very rare. Uh, well, might be possible, but it's very rare. You can have a path here, right? Let me. So you can have the path name, right? So what we did is that we took the URL and split it in the different parts: host, path
Hmm.
name, the protocol. Protocol was already there, right? So it made sense to keep it.
I think port's gonna
And
be cool. I mean, if port made it, that would be cool as fuck.
port, you mean?
Yeah.
Port is here. It's part of the
I
host.
mean, like if we have like a field name called port.
Yeah, the thing is that if you have, I know what you mean. The thing is that if you call it if you call or if you have a port, let's say,
Hmm.
like I did, this was an initial proposal, by the way. Um, then this is not the host. This is the host name, right?
Mm.
It's different host than host name, right? These are different things, which is fine. We could have called it host name and port. That's completely fine. But the thing is that in the majority of cases, what people want to specify here, especially for brokers, are host names and ports, right?
Port.
So this. So why making people write one more line, one more thing, right, for the port when you can have it here, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, also for tools as well. Usually tools understand the string and they understand that this is a port. So that's why we try to keep it as simple as possible. Also because this path name, it's most of the times not used. So in the majority of cases, it will be it will be like it will be like this, right? Um, that's the thing, right? So yeah, we optimized here for the majority of cases. The majority of cases is just a host and a protocol because the protocol is mandatory, right? Does it make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I mean, it's also like makes it like very easier to like read and understand.
Yeah, I think so as well. Yeah, and so we have a bunch of AsyncAPI documents out there doing things like this on the URL, right? On AsyncAPI 2 documents doing things like this. This is right. This is the right way. So this is not, but this is not cool. But we have a bunch of other tools not checking if this is a valid URL or not, right?
Mm.
So people are doing this already on version 2, right, with URL, which is not correct, right? It's not valid, and tools should not accept it, and the parsers should not say it's valid, right? Because this is not a URL, right? So yeah, we basically removed an inconsistency out there. It's probably going to take years to solve, but yeah, it's there. It's already there. We're heading in the right direction.
Cool. So we have a question from YouTube from
Oops.
Elko. Um, I'm not pretty sure I get the question, but I'm just gonna throw it at you. It says in Async API Studio, as demoed, how do you get suggestions? The possible children of
Con-
elements you are editing.
Control space.
Control space.
Yes, I think Alchemy this thing that I'm doing here that not this thing.
Okay, okay. Where you're getting the list of
This
elements.
autocomplete, this thing, you know. So it's possible if you hit Control and space. At least on my Mac, I don't know if Windows is different. I think it's not, but yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
No
Right.
problem, Elko. Yes,
Yeah. So let's move on to the next interesting thing. To me, this is, I mean, this is a breaking change, actually, right? And I
it
think it's
is.
one
Yeah.
of like the most significant changes that came with Victory, which is actually the decoupling of operation, channel, and message, right? Um, I mean, that would take a lot of work, but according to like with the way Victory is structured, I actually see that is really needed, right? Um,
Yep.
and expect JSON it actually makes a lot of because when I see, oh, this is really, now that we have like operation and you have like, every operation has a channel already referenced in the channel, right? So do you mind like just giving us an overview? First
Sorry,
question is
I
why.
lost you. I lost you for some seconds, so I'm not sure I heard the full question.
Yeah, can
Or
you hear me
maybe
now?
you left it super open on purpose. Oh
Yeah, so what I was asking is like, so we have the decoupling of operation channels and messages,
yeah.
which I said is actually a significant breaking change in V3. So like the first question about this particular feature is actually why the
Okay.
decoupling.
So let me showcase an example. Probably let me try to find. All right. Let me try a 2.6 example. I think it's going to be better. Oh damn! Now it's everything is so difficult for 2.6. Oh no! Damn it! We have documentation, of course. So I think it was v2. It's in kpi.com. It's still there. Yes. You cannot see my screen, right? No, you can only see
No.
studio. Okay, no problem. I'm gonna get back quickly. Hello world will be fine, probably. Yes. Okay. So, all right. Let me try to change. Let me try to see if I can change what I'm sharing. Um, yes, I can share the whole window. Maybe I think it's gonna be easier.
Yeah, I mean like you
Uh,
probably have a pretty big screen.
no, 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 no. It's completely fine. No, no, no. I'm on my laptop. No, no.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool, cool. So I think this one should work. Okay. So I can switch because I'm gonna be switching a lot in between windows. So
Sorry,
what I
sorry.
do
Is that the browser using? Is that Arc?
is Arc. Yeah, I'm using Arc. I'm loving it so
Oh,
far. Yeah.
I couldn't get along.
It has the tabs on the left side, which is cool.
Yeah, which is weird.
It's weird, but it's super cool. You don't realize how like damn, like screens are usually wide, right? Instead of vertical, right? So it makes sense. Like if you have a lot of space on the horizontal, remove some space from the horizontal space, right? Instead of from the vertical that you don't have many, right?
It makes me feel like I'm using VS Code.
Sometimes, yeah, somehow, yeah. Maybe it's because of Studio makes you think that. Um, so the thing is that look at this 2.6 example, right? We had channels, the channel hello, right? And then we have an operation here, publish, right? And then the message that is going to be published that someone can publish on this channel, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, thing is that usually message it's it's related to the channel, not so much about the operation, right? So let's say how can I explain that? So the thing is that uh, the usual way it works is that in channels or topics are created to receive, let's say, to so for applications to send specific kinds of messages, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not any message, not any. So it's usually tied to a specific message or two at most, usually around that, right? So so let's say that the relationship in between message and the channel is direct, and it has no, it's also direct with the operation, but it has not necessarily be to be tied to the operation. But here it is, because it's, as you can see, as I said before, like indentation in YAML works in the way that something that is more on the right means it's
Mm-hmm.
inside that thing, right? Actually, you can see it here, that if I collapse this,
Mm-hmm.
right, it disappears, right? Um, so what happens is that if I want to have, let's say, I want to have this hello world application, right? And let's say that this is a server, a WebSocket server, for instance, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And let's say that I want to create another one. No, I want to create another one. Yes. Now switch to tab. I want to open another one. Damn it, I can't. What? That's weird. Maybe if I do this, it's a weird workaround. Okay. Luckily, we have good SEO. Well, actually, I just typed the URL there. It will be weird if we don't find it. So yeah, thing is that imagine that we have this, and this is a server. Okay, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna put it here, server. And now we want to create a client of that server, right? For that particular server, or one of the clients, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's always, as you can see, telling me to convert to the latest version of AsyncAPI. It's not. I'm not gonna. Um, I'm not gonna convert it. So on my server, I can receive, right? I can receive a
Mm-hmm.
message saying hello, right? And my client then um, should be able to receive it as well. So actually, this is highly confusing. Um, let's use another example, because that's, yeah, server client here doesn't really fit well in version 2. Um, so say for instance that we have a notification service. Okay. Um, actually, I'm gonna use this one there, and this one is, let's say, I don't know. Mm, this is a REST API that I have. Okay.
Okay.
For user management. Okay. I'm not gonna define the REST API. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
just define the events. Okay. So I'm not gonna get into REST definition here. So let's say that we have um, a channel called user signed up. Okay. So there is a channel, Kafka topic, AMQP topic as well, whatever, MQTT topic, whatever, right? There is a channel called user signed up, and I want this REST API that to publish a message there, right? So whenever someone signs up using this REST API, the REST API is going to put a message there saying, "Hey, someone signed up." Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so let's just use this simplicity, even though it's not correct. Let's use it like this. So this application, this REST API is going to publish this message to this user signed up channel, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I have a notification service that is going to send an email to my user, to my just signed up user, right?
Mm-hmm.
Saying, hey, welcome to our product, right? So we actually want to subscribe to the user signed up channel,
Channel. Yeah.
right? We want to subscribe there. The message is going to be the same in both, right? Because one is sending it and the other one is receiving it. So it's the same
Mm-hmm.
message, right? So this is duplicated here
Hmm.
and here, right? But not just that. If I add more stuff here, let's say description of my channel, right?
Yeah.
Um, channel contains user signed up messages. Okay, whatever. If I put a description here on this side, on the one who's sending, I also want to put it here because it's the same channel, right? So that's duplicate as well. Well, that sucks, right? That sucks. But what sucks the most is that we cannot reuse this definition, this whole thing, because of what I'm going
It's
to
two
just demo.
different.
So imagine that we have this referencing system, right? Dollar $ref. So we could
Mm-hmm.
be using dollar $ref, and let's say we point to our REST API on the other side,
Mm-hmm.
um, and say that we want to point to the channel users
Stand up.
signed up, right? And imagine that we want to leave it like this, right? What is it complaining about? Maybe, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that's Studio specifically. So, Studio doesn't support these file references,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, the thing is that imagine that you do this and you generate the documentation outside Studio, which is supported, um, and you do this. That's one way to avoid the repetition, right? The duplication stuff. But that simply doesn't work, right? Because of what I said before. This one has to publish the message, but this one has to subscribe,
Subscribe. Yeah.
right?
That's two different operations.
So how can I override the operation here? We can't. You
Hmm.
cannot add things like I don't know. You cannot add things along a dollar
No.
ref. You cannot do this. Dollar ref doesn't support any additional values, right?
Hmm.
And we don't define dollar ref. So dollar ref is something defined by JSON schema, right?
Different schema.
So
Yeah.
so yeah, so we cannot alter the behavior of dollar ref here, right? So yeah, it's pretty much screwed up because of this, because we have the operation here in the middle
Mm.
of the channel definition, in between the channel and the message definition, in the middle, right? So how do we do it now in AsyncAPI 3? So now you have channels, user signed up. Now we're gonna get into this. Let's say the user signed up is this one. This is the
Hmm.
address of the channel. These are the messages that this channel is gonna see through, is gonna accept, right? And these are the operations. So the operation now are decoupled, right? So if you want to send a message to this channel, you create an operation, a send operation, right, to this channel, right, to the channel that is referenced here, right? And you can even specify that this is optional, right? So you can even specify which messages to put. But the simplest one will be this. It's like, I just want to send a message to this user signed up channel, right? This is what the
Hmm.
send user signed up operation does, right? So yeah, so now if you have this if you have this definition somewhere else in another file, you can easily, I don't know, let's say you have them on a YAML file, on a specific channel's YAML file, and then you just want to put it there, right? You could do it, right? Again, it's not valid here because Studio doesn't support file
Yeah.
references, and this is a file, right? But if this was a URL, let's say um, myregistry.com, uh, right? Then it will work, right? So
Hmm.
that's the thing. So you can have. Let me check. Why is it complaining here? Fail to fetch, of course, because this doesn't doesn't
Yeah. It's
exist.
invalid URL.
Yes. Right. But thing is that this now allows you to reuse. You can even reuse the definition of the operation as well. You can place a dollar $ref here, right, to somewhere else,
Hmm.
right? I mean, I don't know why you would want to do that, but you could do it as well. Thing is that now everything is decoupled. You know, channels and operations are decoupled, which is super cool because let me get back to what it was. Super cool because okay. So now what happens is that you can have before you can only have publish and or subscribe operations on a
Hmm.
single channel, right? Now you can have as many operations as you want on a single channel, as many send operations and as many receive operations. So this one can be receive as well, right? So yeah. So this is really cool because of that. Now you can split this up by different types of operations that you might do in your application, right? And that you want to separate, even though they are doing the same, they're sending to the same channel, but
Channel.
uh, but you might want to have like I don't know.
Your
So
logic.
you yeah, the logic might be I don't know, send signed up v2, right? Because
Hmm.
you are sending you send into the same channel, but in this case, let's say we have v1, and with this I'm demoing a lot of stuff, not just what I was talking about, but I'll go through this quickly. I hate this indentation stuff, right? So let's say that we have yeah that this one doesn't exist, but yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna continue. So there are two messages: user signed up v1 and user signed up v2, right? You might have
Hmm.
one operation that is called send user signed up that is gonna target this channel, but you only want it to be using the v1 message, right? That's this one. And then you have another one, send user signed up v2, that is targeting the same channel and doing the send operation as well, but you're only allowing the v2 message on this channel, right? So you can separate these kind of things, right? You can have two send operations that might send different kinds of messages to the same channel, right? Allowing you for a lot of reusability here, right? So that's ultimately that's what's happening here.
I mean,
And
apart from the usability, and I think it also like improve the ability to like read the document
mhm,
because prior to like V2, I always like struggle when we have like channels and we have like channels with publish, channel with subscribe, channel. So you have like this whole big channel object,
yes,
and at some point when you're trying to like understand how um the relationship works, you just keep trying to like get that particular channel and how it works. But now you just have to go to the operation, and
exactly.
now you have the operation object now is even smaller, right? So it's
Yes.
easier for you to like figure what you're trying to like look for. And I mean that is mind blowing.
Yeah, that is really cool. And actually, something cool as well that was, let's say, separated from the previous version. So before we used to call it like this. Let's say that we have instead of using an ID, you had to put the let's say the topic name that you're gonna use in your final system. Let's say if you have a Kafka topic, or an MQTT topic, for instance, this follows the MQTT, um, let's say, like structure for the topics and syntax. That's what I meant. So this follows the MQTT syntax for the topics. If you wanted to put it there, you have to put it here on the channel name. So the channel name has to match the name of the
The
topic
same thing.
in the broker, right? So you had to do it like this. You know what's not cool about this is that let's replace it in the two in both places, right? In this one. So now this is called user slash signed up, right? It has to be called like this because that's the name of your topic in the broker. You cannot call it in another way. And that's important to remark, right? So now if I want to reuse it, if I want to point using a dollar ref, now I have to go to channels and I cannot point to user signed up here, right? But I can also not
Mm.
do user signed up because this is
Plus, no.
not correct.
Hmm.
Because that will be effectively pointing to a field like this.
Hmm.
This is what uh,
Yeah.
it means. This is what users last signed up on the dollar ref means, right? That you are going to channels user signed up. But this is not the structure that we have. What we have is that the slash is in the name, right? But it's not another level deeper, right? So the way to encode this is doing this,
Yeah.
which is not cool at all. Right? Like you want to read this and it's like, no, right?
Yeah. I
You have
mean,
to
it's
remember
almost
this
laughing
actually.
against it sometimes.
Yeah, it's weird, right? So, and some people were getting frustrated because they were doing this, they were putting the slash, but that's not correct, right? And we cannot change it. This is how dollar ref behaves, and this is what this is how JSON pointer, which is this part here, actually this part here, right? This is how the JSON pointer standard works. It's not something that
Mm.
we defined on the spec, right? So, and we're not going to change it, of course. So now, what we allowed here is that you can now point to user-friendly IDs. You know,
Mm.
so when you're referencing, you can point to these user-friendly IDs without slashes or anything like that, right? And now the address that is in your in your broker is this one. This is the one, right? Lots of changes
So,
here.
the address is the address is actually the one like handling the whole edic we were worried about in V2.
The address will be so in V2, the
I mean,
channel
like,
ID and the address were a single
hmm,
thing.
hmm,
They were a single thing. So it was not separated. Um, the ID and the address of the channel were all here, right? But now in V3, we have the ID and the address separated because of this
which is
reason, right?
cool.
So now, but that even allows you for more stuff like address is not mandatory, it's not a required field. So now you
Hmm.
can even have a channel where you don't know what the address is, which is allowing you for more use cases. Like, there's going to be a channel eventually in the broker, and which kind of messages are going to be there, right? But you don't know the name of the channel. And you know why? Because the name of the channel is dynamically generated during runtime. So you will never be able to have this name of the channel beforehand when you are writing the AsyncAPI file, right? So this is possible. You can remove address from here, and you can even state it explicitly and say the address is
No.
null. I don't know. I don't
Hmm.
know. Like this is a way for JSON to say like it doesn't have any value, right? I mean, there's undefined, but this is not JSON. This is JavaScript. But in JSON, the way to encode it is to say like this is null. Uh, we don't know. We don't know. It's unknown for us, right? And if we go to the next part, I think we're gonna make use of this one uh, of the address null. So yeah.
Which is pretty cool. I mean, like, it's really 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 nice. So before we move ahead, we have a couple of questions already. So the first question from Pravin says, my AsyncAPI Studio in Chrome lags a lot, even for small changes, open to 16 gig RAM. So
Interesting.
I don't think we can answer that question here. So
Yeah.
I would just advise you to like open an issue in Studio, right? And probably just then we can reach out to you from there. Um, Elko has a question. Says, how does implementation distinguish between two receive operation for same message slash channel?
How does implementation distinguish between two receive operations for the same message channel? So that's a good question, actually. So what happens is that let me share again. I didn't want to share because I was looking at this window, the live stream window, and that would be weird. But yes, so if I understood correctly, so how will an implementation distinguish between, let's say, um, this operation and this other operation, for instance? So the reason we introduced this is this field here, messages, is because of that. So if we remove this, it's really slow. My laptop is really slow right now. All right. So if we remove these messages, now these two operations look exactly the same, right? So they are effectively the same, right? So we the only difference is the name, but yeah, this is not
Mhm.
machine readable, right? Um, so yeah, this one could be sending either V2 or V1, right? And this one could be doing the same thing, right? So the reason we introduce messages there is precisely to tell the implementation, let's say this is specifically, about this specific message. So if you want to, let's say, if you want to validate, which is it's a weird use case because you never validate an operation, but I'll go with it anyway. So if you want to, let's say, that match which operation a message is belonging to, let's say, then v2 here. So this one here, this message here is telling you that in the case this message is v2, then you map it uh, to this one. Now, there's nothing preventing, as I said before, there's nothing preventing you from doing this. In this case, one specific message that you receive on a channel, right, or that you send on a channel, not that you receive, uh, can actually map to two different operations or multiple operations, right? That's up to you. That's up to you to decide. Like, I want to just scope it for just one operation or multiple, right? Usually, what people do with operations is the opposite. Is the opposite path. So it's like you go from this file to generate code, for instance, right? And you just want to make sure that you match, not you match, but you generate this thing in the code and this thing in the code, right? For non-code generation scenarios, documentation, for instance, you want to make sure that you have the two because the two might have different descriptions and summaries and data for humans to read, right? That you might want to separate, but in the end, in the code, it might end up being the same thing, right? So that's another one. The other case is that um, when you match, when you want to, let's say, validate, imagine that this is not send, this is receive. When you want to validate if a message is a message that is received on a specific channel is valid or not valid, then you don't validate it via operations. The only thing you will have to do in this case is that make sure that at least there is one operation that is receiving on that channel. That's the only thing that you will want to make sure at least one operation is doing that, right? But if that's the case, then you validate following this, right? The message can only be one of these two, right? You can even go deeper and say, uh, give me a sec. Okay. You can even go deeper and say, following the receive example, once you receive a message, right, on this channel, because you are entering and you are matching this this specific operation, you can go here and say, this one is only about v1, right? So you could go here to the channel definition and make sure that it's matching this one message definition. So that's how you will do it. That's how you will map to one specific message on a specific channel, right, via one or multiple specific operations. It's a it's a long path. I'm happy that you asked, because we actually have this challenge solved on Glee. So the Glee framework is doing that for you. So whenever you send a message or receive a message, it's actually doing this. It's going all this travel through the document, right? Like checking which operation is matching what's happening, so receiving or sending, and in each of them making sure that it makes sense, right? So yeah, you can of course you can have um, yeah, like you can have multiple. That's up to you. Like that's up to you how you structure your async API document, right? And there was another one. Uh, oh yeah, and Ilko was saying that the question is for receive, but yeah, yeah, um, yeah. So I hope I explained that. Anyway, let me try to hide this. Okay, cool, better. Um, so the other one, oh yeah, the one about address, filters on expression on address, right? So this is of course possible because it was before, so we had to keep it. And so say for instance that this is MQTT, right? This is a or an NQP as well, but that's I'm familiar with MQTT. So just to follow the whole example, that's an MQTT one. And let's say that you want to have specific address here. So you don't know what what can I say? Let's do something. So users, country, country name, sign up, right? You can have this kind of expressions that we had previously in async API, right? So this is like a variable. You know that there's going to be something here, but you don't know the value yet, right? So because this is probably calculated at runtime, right? In this case, you have parameters. God, it's so slow. My laptop is gonna fly right now. So I'm not sure. We changed this as well, so I'm not sure now of the shape. Too many things. Oh yeah. So same for instance that you have a bunch of countries here. Um, let's use those shortcodes. You have S for España, UK for the United Kingdom. What's Nigeria? NI or NG?
NG.
NG. Okay. So NG, PT, for instance. So that you know that this is a specific list of for this variable here, for this, yeah, for this variable part of the address, right? Now, that's for an enum. There are more things that you could be doing here, not just enum. You could be, let's say, it could be the same. For instance, that the default value of country name. This is actually along with enum as well. All right. So that default value is ng, for instance, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is possible. Now it's missing something that we already noticed, and we're gonna launch most likely in version 3.1. We noticed after it was like the release was closed, it's missing the pattern one. So before it was possible to have a pattern, right? And we forgot to add it. Sick. So yeah. So now it will be possible in the next minor version to have something like I don't know, like a regex
Regex.
pattern, right? Yes. So whatever, right? Um, I'm gonna come up with a regex here because that will be super weird. But yeah, so that's the way you can have this kind of yeah this kind of variables. Pattern will be in the next minor version, most likely in January, because we're releasing the next one in January. So yeah, pretty soon. And yeah.
I hope that answered the question, Echo. So we also have so we have like a folk called Joseph King. Woo! A single player for the win. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So Heiko has another question saying, I would imagine the operation triggers certain logic on receiving end. How do you I would sorry ID you cannot distinguish. Okay, I think it is ID. I was trying to like read it as a sentence. So ID you cannot distinguish. Do you understand what it's trying to say?
I think it's if maybe it's a typo.
Okay,
So if
if you
you cannot
cannot
distinguish,
distinguish.
like yeah, you can distinguish, of course. You can distinguish like which operation is it, right? So
Mm,
the thing is that this is really up to you. Sometimes this is dependent on the usage that you are doing with the AsyncAPI file. Some people don't care about that, and they just want to have like for code generation purposes. Um, and yeah, so it's um, it's not so much about the opposite way, like matching an operation via a received message, let's say. But it's possible, and I even say like it's possible because we're doing it on Glee, right? So Huda, who's working actively and on Glee, and Suvik as well, they actually had to make it last week, 2 weeks ago. They had to make it work, right? So from a received message, you want to know which operation is it matching, and then trigger the logic of that operation, right? Triggering the logic of that on the receiving end, as you're saying, Elko. So totally possible. We actually doing it as well for the send operation. So we want to map it to the send operation before the message is actually sent, so that we make sure that when you write code saying now reply back to the broker with this message, when you do that, then you can make sure that the message is also valid before it reaches the broker, right? So that you don't pollute the broker with invalid messages, right? So that's also possible on Glee, and so yeah, so it's totally possible, yeah, totally.
okay. So he left a comment, I think, which is probably related to the um, address question from earlier. Okay, so rejects more than experts.
Yeah, so I think he was just confirming that it's not XPath, it's not JSON it's regex. So yeah, most likely it's going to be there. We cannot um, we cannot really map it to XPath or JSON pointers, for instance, or James path or anything like that, because these things are specific for JSON data or for XML in the case of XPath, right? Um, so we need something that works for everything, basically. that's why we are that's why we are using in this case regex, also because it's always a string. The value is always a string, right? Or at least serialized as a string. So yeah, JSON like X data, JSON path, James path, JM's path, I think it's the name. All these standards are cool, but like way too much for a single string to validate, right? So yeah, and happy to explain more on the on Slack. So just ping me on Slack if you want to have more details. I'm saying because I'm seeing that he's saying newbie problem
Hmm.
there. It's newbie problem plus it's not a newbie problem. It's a lack of let's say useful documentation to onboard into these new concepts, right? I mean, we have documentation, but we probably have to improve it, right? Most not probably we have to improve it, and we're going to improve it, of course. So yeah, and but happy to address any further questions as well.
Yeah, cool. So we already run out of time. So we're just gonna take one more, feature, and then we can move on. Which one should it be? I still have a lot. So I'm just gonna choose. Let me just choose channel address. I mean, like we already like spoke about channel address, and I think it's also another breaking change, and that I also like noticed that came with V3. So let's just talk about channel address and channel key. I mean, as a last talking point.
But we already did that, right?
Sorry.
We already went through that, the channel key and
Yeah,
channel
just
address.
yeah, because when we went through it, it wasn't as a talking point, so it was just as a question. So we're just going to like a quick like
Okay.
brief overview. So we already know what it is, just a quick overview, and then
You want to go to the same concept again, just as a talking point?
yeah, as a talking point.
Okay. Okay. Why not?
Okay, okay,
Let's,
fine. Let's why not let's just choose parameters instead.
we already did it, right? So we're here. So that's why I'm saying like
No.
so the channel ID is this one, channel address is this one, which can be null,
Hmm.
can be a string, can be a string with these parameters. The way you define the parameters is exactly this way. Like you can have a default value in them and coming soon pattern, which is probably going to be a regex as it was in version 2 that we by mistake remove it on version 3, and that's
And
pretty
I
much
think
it.
there's one thing I would love to like probably take a note of when it comes to parameters. And I think now parameters it now only has like this required list of fields that you can actually use, right?
Yes, yeah, so there has been like a cleanup there as well. So for instance, let me check this one on version 2. um, so before you can have, let's say, uh, let's do the same example on the, oh, that was what. Okay, so let's say that we have the same thing. So before, yeah, so the way you had to define it before, it was you only had uh, possibility here will be description, or I mean $ref to point to somewhere else, but yeah, description, location, and schema, right? So these two, description and location, are also in version 3,
Hmm.
but we flattened, we didn't remove, but we flattened schema here. So instead of doing schema, we did it for a simple reason. So let's say that we have uh, country name, and then inside schema you had to put it like this: type string, uh, name of the country, and let's say enum, right? If you do it like this, you have two descriptions of the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because the description was here, and it's also here, right? But one thing that we could have opted for is, okay, let's just remove description then, right? And so if you want to have the description, you have to put it here inside schema. But then we thought, like, is it really needed that we can have a full schema support here for a simple string? Because this is always going to be a string. Is the name is
Mm-hmm.
part of the channel name, right, of the topic name, so it's always a string, or at least something that is serialized as a string, right? And that's the key. So we were like, okay, so we were checking with people, and most people were not making use of type object here. Why would you, right? Like, this is always a string, not an object. Nobody in the right mind will have a something called user signed up, um, something like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, right? That's one way to, let's say, you don't have an object encoded as a string as part of the topic name, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's why would you, right? Also, imagine that the type is an array; it's not an object. Now things become a little bit tricky here, because um, imagine that we just say this: it's an array, but we don't give any more information. Just we say that it's an array, right? How do you encode that? How do you encode an array? Let's say it's an array of numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or countries. Okay, let's say it's an array of countries. How do you encode that? Do you encode it like this? This is how you encode it as a string. You encode it like this.
Nah.
Do you encode it like this? How do you? There are multiple ways to serialize an array into a string, right? They're all valid points, right? So this
Mm-hmm.
one is not JSON valid, and this one is more readable, and this one is pure JSON, right? So which one do
Mm-hmm.
you use? Then we thought, like, okay, if we're gonna keep it, we need to define how to serialize an array into a string. In this case, we need to define it ourselves. We need to put it there. The way to serialize an object into a string is this way, right? Um, cool, we could do it. But then we thought, like, why? Nobody's using it, right? Nobody's using type array or type object here because it doesn't make sense. At most, what can happen is that people are using type number because they want to have, I don't know, instead of country name, they want to use, I don't know, hour, right? For instance. So, so they want to have, I don't know, a two here, right? Um, not sure what I'm doing here. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yes. So, yeah. So the thing is that, imagine that this is a number, right? It's a number in essence, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in practice, it's serialized as a string, as part of the string, right? So yeah, we could. I mean, I can buy you this argument that this should be type number, right? And this is something we're going to explore in the future releases. That you can also specify type string, type number, type boolean. Even though type boolean, how do you, same thing? How do you encode this as true? That's one. One is true. Zero is
Mm-hmm.
false. Do you need a word? You need the number. How do you encode that, right? So we'll see. We'll discuss that. If there's, let's say, if there's interest in having type boolean, type number, type null, right? You know, so these things. So yeah, I don't recall why I was saying that, but yeah, this is so this is all things yeah, this is the reason why we got rid of all this full schema, because you could be doing all sorts of stuff here on the schema, right?
Mhm,
I mean, everything that JSON schema allows you to do. This is inside here. This one, this is a JSON schema definition, so you can even have any of, all of,
mhm.
if, and all the stuff that JSON schema supports, just for that specific part of the string, which is, that seemed like an overkill, right? So we just got rid of so many features. We tried to come back to the basics, let's say. So it's always a string, and from here we'll try to grow if we see that there's need to grow instead of the other way around, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. If you have any question, please feel free to drop it in the comment section or reach out to Fran or me privately on Slack. The
Sure.
next one I would love us to touch on is a request reply, but we wouldn't touch on it. I'm going to share a link to Alejandra's API poster
Yes, much better.
because they went in depth and explained the whole concept of request reply like you're 5 years old according to Alejandra. So I'm gonna
Yes,
share
this
a
was a
link
good
to
one.
the YouTube video. So feel
And
free. Okay.
maybe you also want to share the one in French. So
Yeah.
Laurent and Ludovic were speaking about this as well, but in French. So if you prefer French, that's also in French. So yeah.
Just posting
If
on
not, you
the.
can always enjoy listening French, even though you don't understand
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I'm gonna share the one by Ludovic. So I think that's Adio's use case, right?
Yes, that was a good use case. That was an ideal use case. Yeah, that before it used to have the, let's say, reply operations in the description, because it wasn't possible in V2 before.
Mm-hmm.
So they were just defining in the description, and you should reply with this message, blah blah blah, in this specific channel, blah blah blah,
Mm-hmm.
right? But that was not machine readable, right? It was human readable, but not machine readable. Now, they're able to remove it from the docs, from the description, sorry, and encode it as a machine readable definition inside AsyncAPI. And now the documentation is capable of rendering it nicely, thanks to Ace, by the way, who work in that part of the documentation. So
That's
yeah,
me. Okay.
Aziz.
So we are really like I hope you all enjoyed like this session. To me, I really enjoyed it. Fran
Me
was
too.
being really totally to the use case as a use cases to the examples and like define definition and showing us all around how this thing like works and why, which is the most important aspect. You can say
Yes.
I was just asking why. So it was a really really insightful session. But before we end this stream, if you have any question again, please feel free to reach out to us on Slack. We are a very, very vibrant and active community. So, like we promised, there is gonna be a giveaway, right?
Oh
So
yes.
it's
Forgot.
giveaway time. So if you actually was active during this stream, if you were active during this stream, you should probably win this giveaway because almost all the questions were actually answered in this stream. So this is so we're gonna get started. I'm gonna quickly save it and give out. So in few seconds we should be ready to go. Um, Okay, okay, okay. Ah, continue.
Ah, Maya is gonna win again.
No, she's not gonna. Why is she here?
We we should not allow her to participate this time. You cannot
No,
win twice in a row. It's not fair for the rest of the
no,
community, Maya. Let
she
us
should not be here,
win.
Maya.
Let us win at least once.
Okay, can you see my screen? Let's see. So this is the. I'm gonna copy the magic link.
One swag.
So for if you wanna
Oh,
win the giveaway, kindly go through this link I just shared, and get started, do your thing, and we are going to like choose the winner. So
ooh.
I think this way.
Oh yes, much better. Yeah,
Mm,
I was trying to
yes.
make it, make the screen bigger.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna view the leaderboard. Ah, we are waiting for players. So if you want to stand a chance of winning one of the exclusive AsyncAPI swag, please join via the link I just shared. Uh, Fingers crossed.
So Maya is asking where's the link. It's there, but I can see it, but I don't know if it got to YouTube. I hope it did.
Oh, let's see. It
I mean,
did
I
get
see
to YouTube.
confirmation that it got into YouTube, but
Well, I think it went to YouTube as a text. So I'm gonna
oh, damn
fix
it.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, you see, because this is not a fully qualified URL.
yeah.
That's why.
Okay. Let's see. Hey, why is it HTTP instead of HTTPS?
Hopefully, it shouldn't be a problem. They should redirect, right?
Yeah, I think
Most
it should.
likely.
It will redirect.
Hopefully.
Yeah, it will redirect. Okay, so I just shared a new link. Waiting for you all to. Oh, Maya, really? You really want to win this swag? Okay.
Oh my god, Maya is gonna open an AsyncAPI shop
You're
with
gonna
with
start
all the
selling
swag.
swags. Oh, we have a ghost.
Ghost. Ooh. Ooh, let's make sure that you share your player ID. Otherwise, we don't know who we should be sending the swags or the giveaway.
Hmm,
Ooh, more people come in. Nobody else.
nobody else, just one player.
Oh, then it's gonna be easy.
Yeah, just have one person win it.
We can participate ourselves and pretend we are other people.
I'm definitely gonna win. This
I'm
is
here.
I'm here.
Is it you?
It's not me.
It's not me either. My hands are here.
Wow, these folks are amazing. They're gonna miss, except if they attended this stream. Yeah, I knew it.
Ooh,
Some of the questions were actually based on this stream.
you.
Who's you?
Ah, that's weird. What's happening? Nobody has a recognizable name.
Everyone is trying to be anonymous. Like, what are we doing?
I mean, you
Why
can stay
anonymous?
anonymous, but then, yeah, if you win, then you cannot come and say,
Yeah, then how
uh,
do we know it's
"I."
you?
How do we know that you are you? Exactly. Then anybody can come and say, "No, you was actually me." So
I'm you. It's gonna be
you are
difficult.
me.
Please, just use a recognizable username or handle.
I'm gonna participate and use Ace and fail them all.
Oh, ghost,
All
9 of 10.
right.
That's cool. Now I want to see how you want to claim the prize, ghost.
Yes, I want to see that as well.
I mean, I can't see a ghost, so how do I know it's you?
Is it possible to join this anonymously?
Yeah, I don't understand what you mean. Like
Like, can someone just
anonymously?
so does this give you the option to not put any name and maybe this is just generated? Ghost
No,
is
no,
something.
you have to put a name.
Okay.
Okay, we have three players. Ghosts one. We're gonna wait for 2 minutes to see if another person is gonna join. But I'm so confused how we wanna send a swag to ghost to a ghost.
Yeah, we don't deliver swags to the other side yet.
I know. I mean, I'm not gonna send that.
I mean, we we can, but
We can't.
we
I
probably can
can't.
try. We can try, but
I'm
we
pretty
don't
sure
deliver.
Barbados won't be up for that.
Yeah, Barbania will be like just saying like,
No,
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 no
no,
way. I mean, you asking me to send things to the other dimension?
no.
This is new to me. And do we have to pay taxes if we do it?
Oh, Ooh, I mean, there should be IRS everywhere. I- Truly, are you ghost?
Yeah, are you claiming your ghost?
You can't claim you are ghost. You have no evidence.
We actually saw you in presence. I mean, not me, but some people saw you that you are
We saw
real.
you in
So
person.
yeah, and when they tried to touch you on your shoulder, they were not going through you. Like,
Yeah.
so you are physically present in this world. So you're not a ghost.
No, you're not a ghost. That can't be you. Okay. Elko
So
said,
Ilko is you.
oh, no, you select your name from options. Oh. So you can actually select a random name from the options.
Ah, that's why. And I'm
That's
here
why.
is Maya. Okay,
Ah, that's Maya.
cool.
Echo is you. So who is Ghost? If Tuli is really Ghost, we are not giving you Tuli.
No,
Echo
no,
will
no,
have to be
no.
the winner.
Let's let's do another round. No, Tuli cannot
No,
win. That's not fair.
if we can't give if Tuli is Ghost, Elko has to be the winner.
Yes.
So Tuli, are you really Ghost? You have 1 minute to respond, Tuli.
So
Who is Ghost?
are we sumoing the ghosts here?
So we have to know who the ghost is. Tuli is ghost. Tuli, we are not giving you any swag. You lost. You just what? What are you doing? I'm definitely not. Okay. Yeah, better. And next time, don't choose ghost as a name. So,
Uh,
Elko. I mean, like Elko was super active during the stream, asking questions and
yeah,
stuff.
that
So,
that makes
I
total
believe
sense. Yeah.
Elko, you should definitely get the swags. Shout out to Toli for giving out our spot, even though it was illegal for her to participate. So, Elko, congratulations. It's so fun. Please feel free to reach out to Tuli, the ghost, on Slack. I mean, like the ghost
Yes.
is not in our handles, but just reach out to Tuli
You have
on
to talk to
Slack.
the ghost.
You have to talk to the ghost. I mean, to claim your swag. So just reach out to Tuli on Slack. She would uh, probably like tell you what to do in order to like get your swags. So thank you all for joining. Fran, do you have any closing remark you'd love to give the audience?
No, just thanks for inviting me to this live stream. It's always fun and a pleasure. So yeah, and happy to do it anytime whenever you need it. And
Th-
I'm seeing Tully saying that who said it was illegal.
I did.
Uh, I mean, Ace is the authority in during this live stream. So,
Yeah, I mean, I make the rules.
now, what can I say? Maybe if you have a complaint, then you can move it to Lucas, so he will have to decide. Or maybe, or maybe we make the TSC to vote about it
Yeah.
and watch the live stream. So yeah, no, just kidding. So yeah, cool, mate, folks.
Okay.
Thanks for
Thank you all for
joining.
joining. See you all. I'm pretty sure this will be the last live stream for the year. So I hope you all have a wonderful, fun, send that
I
gift.
actually, I actually have one live stream, one last live stream in Spanish in 2 hours, in 2 hours and a
Oh,
half, more or less. So yeah, from the Codely, uh, but yeah, it's a Codely TV. Search for them on. If you're interested, search for them on Twitter, um,
cool.
and it's there. It's actually one of the latest tweets they sent. So yeah,
Awesome.
cool.
Um, See you all. Have fun,
Oh,
folks. And bye.
I'm actually the ghost.
Goes.
I'm the winner.
Bye, folks. Peace
Bye
out.
bye.